Good day, everyone. So today we will discuss about the basic techniques of technical writing. So there are five distinctive techniques frequently used in technical writing, namely definition, classification, partition, description of mechanism, and description of process. Each technique will be discussed in the order in which they are given. The discussion of five special writing techniques is intended to help the student determine how to develop and arrange data in a way that would be best communicate their ideas to their readers. The first writing technique is definition. Definition occurs when the writer uses technical terms which are not familiar to the readers, or when common terms are used in a way that is hard to understand. So definitions are classified into two types: informal definition and formal definition. Informal definition consists of one or more synonymous expressions substituted for the unfamiliar term used. For example, friend. So, friend is defined as a meet, pal, sidekick, or homie. So, on the other hand, formal definition is precise and focuses on the special attention on a term. Formal definition is used more especially in formal conversations, especially when writing formal articles or business texts. So formal definition is divided into three parts: the term, which is the word to be defined; the genus, or the group or class to which the term belongs to; and differentia, that shows the distinctive characteristics of the term from its class. For example, a barometer is an instrument that used to measure atmospheric pressure. In a given example, a barometer is the term to be defined, and an instrument is the genus or the class which the term barometer belongs to, and that measure atmospheric pressure is the quality or the term's characteristic that makes the term unique from its group. So another example is water. Water is a liquid made of molecules of hydrogen and oxygen and the ratio of 2 to 1. So water is the term, is a liquid is the genus, and the differentia is made of molecules of hydrogen and oxygen in the ratio of 2 to 1. Another example is astronomy. So astronomy is a branch of scientific study primarily concerned with celestial objects inside and out of the Earth's atmosphere. So astronomy there is the term, is a branch of scientific study as the genus, and primarily concerned with the celestial objects inside and out of the Earth's atmosphere is our differentia. So next is the rules of definition. In formulating a formal definition, observe the following. First is try to use simple words. Don't define unfamiliar words using difficult terms that would confuse the readers. Use simple terms to define the term or words that can be found in the reader's vocabulary. For example, in defining a network. So the first definition is a network is anything reticulated or decusated at equal distance with interstices between the intersections. The second definition is a network is complex system of electrical wires or channels that interlace or cross like the fabric of a net. So example of the first example uses the word like decusated, interstices, which are hard to understand, while example letter B or the second example uses simple terms that can easily understood by the readers, making it a good definition. So the next rules of definition is number 2. If the term being defined is a noun, the word after should also be a noun. So don't begin your definition with when, what, or where if the term being defined is a noun. The first definition is soldering is when metal surfaces are joined by using metal or metallic alloy. The second definition is soldering is the process of joining surfaces using melted metal or metallic alloy. So example number 1 uses when, which makes the definition bad. Well, example number 2, on the other hand, is the example of a good definition. Since the word after a noun is an article that used to define the noun, melted metal or metallic alloy. It is important to note that when the term being defined is a noun, the word after is also a noun or the name of the class. The third rules of definition is in defining a term, avoid using the term itself or any of its derivatives. For example, the first definition is a parallelogram is the quadrilateral with parallel sides. Example or definition number 2 is a parallelogram is a quadrilateral with opposite sides equal. So example number 1, define the term using the term parallel, which is obviously a word and the term to be defined, making it look like it just repeated the word parallel. Meanwhile, in definition number 2, it uses different term to define the word parallelogram that makes it better than definition number 1. So the fourth rules of definition is don't put the term you are defining in too broad or too narrow a class. So avoid defining term using a narrow or broad definition. It will only make the readers more confused about the term and may cause of losing a focus on the topic. For example, in defining a crystal. So in definition number 1, a crystal is something that glitters in the sun. Definition number 2, we have a crystal is a formation of quartz geometrically patterned. And definition number 3 says, while in definition number 3, it says that crystal is a solid piece of matter in which the atoms, molecules, or ions composing it are arranged in a definite geometrical pattern. So example number 1 uses the word something to define the term, which is too broad and is not defining the term at all. While in definition number 2, it uses phrase like quartz, geometrically patterns, that is too shallow to define the term. On one hand, the definition number 3 defined the term by introducing its class and its unique characteristics that make it differs from the others, making it a good example of a good definition. So next is extended formal definition. So a one-sentence definition sometimes is not enough to define a complex or high specialized term. Most of the time, readers may not satisfied with one explanation. They might ask about what term is not, where it is located, what are the functions and the effects of the term. So we have several ways to expand a formal definition. First is by giving the uses or the function of a term. For example, one of the organs we cannot live without is the liver, which is the largest organ in our body. It enables the body to function efficiently by filtering toxic substances from the blood. It is responsible for the producing proteins, bile, and immune agents without which our body will not be able to combat infection and disease. So as you can see from the given example, it's giving the function and the uses of the organ, which is the term that is being defined. It's giving the function or the uses of the organs to our body. So next is giving the origin of the term. For example, the word placebo comes from a Latin word which means pleasing or acceptable. It refers to the desire of a person who seeks the help of the doctor to be helped. So as you can see from the given example, it is, or the definition is giving the origin of the term. It was said that the term placebo came from a Latin word, which is the origin of the word placebo. So next is by giving its cost or effects, advantages and disadvantages. For example, vitamin C, also known as ascorbic acid, can cause headaches and intestinal and urinary problems when taken in excess doses. It can also increase iron absorption, a condition which can have adverse effects on people with certain blood disorders. So, from the given example, the term to be defined there is the vitamin C. So, as you can see, or as you can read, the definition is giving the cost or the effects of the term or of the vitamin C. So next is by illustrating or describing its appearance. For example, an organ is a large, complex musical wind instrument with pipes, stops, and a keyboard. So from the example itself, the the definition is illustrating or describing the appearance of the term organ. Next is by explaining what is not. For example, a good breakfast cannot be equated with just a cup of coffee and a cookie. Neither that it just consists of one serving of fruit and a glass of water, nor should it be a bowl of rice and coffee. So, from the given example, the term to be defined is a good breakfast. So, as you can see, it is explaining what is not good or what is not. Next is by analyzing its part. For example, the process of writing consists of four stages. First is getting ideas, getting started, writing drafts, and revising. So, the term to be defined is the process of writing. So, this example is giving the four stages of the process of a writing or a good writing. So next is by classifying it. For example, theobromine belongs to a class of alkaloid molecules known as methylxanthine found in cocoa beans. So the term to be defined here is the theobromine. So from the given example, the definition classified the term theobromine in which the term is belong, which is the alkaloid molecules. Next is stating where it is from. For example, stress is a term which was introduced in 1956 in the American vernacular. So, from the given example, it is said that, or stress is a term which was introduced in 1956 in the American vernacular. So, the definition is defining the term by giving where the term came from. So take note that giving its origin is different from stating where it is from. So origin is the history of the term. It stated how the term points, while the where it is from is asking where did the term first emerge. So next is giving its collocations. For example, stress has always been associated with changes, worries, pressures, and problems. So, as the giving from the given example below, the term to be defined is stress. From the given example, stress is the term to be defined. So the ways of defining the stress or the term stress, it has they associate it with the collocation of the stress, with which is the changes, worries, pressures, and problems. Next is giving examples. So for example is examples of lyric poems are sonnet, song, ode, simple lyric, and elegy. So the ways of defining the term is giving the example of the lyric poems, which are sonnet, song, ode, simple lyric, and elegy. So next, let's go to the placement of definition in reports. So the proper location of definitions depends upon how important they are to the text and on the probable knowledge of the readers. Definition may be placed in number one. First is in text itself. So if the terms to be defined are not many and synonymous or appositives, or it is enough to make their meaning clear, you can put the definition in the text itself. Next is in the footnote. So when the report is to be read by mixed group of readers, some of them may not understand the terms used in the text. So you can put the definition in the footnote below. Next is in a special section in the introduction. So when the terms are too important in understanding the text, you can put it in a special section of introduction. Next is in the glossary at the end of the report. So when the inclusion of too many definitions in the text can cause the reader to lose track of the topic being discussed, you can add the meaning of the difficult term in the glossary. Next is classification. So classification is the act of classifying or locating as a specimen of all different kinds of objects that possess given characteristics. So in classification, we have several principles involved. The effectiveness of classification depends upon the following principles. Number one is classifying consistently on a single basis, which points to a fundamental distinction among the member of class. So it means identifying which class a certain object belongs to. For instance, the characteristics of paper may be divided into physical, optical, chemical, and microscopical properties. Next is the basis of classification should not further the purpose controlling it. It means classifying something in order to control it. For example, librarians. So librarians classify books by subject, not color or size, because readers are more interested in their context. Next is consideration should not overlap. Make sure that each species is distinct and separate from all the others. For example, classifying report according to their style, formal and informal, or according to frequency of issues, monthly, quarterly, semi-annually, and annually. So classifying reports as information, performance, recommendation, research, investigation is not satisfactory because an information report may be also considered as a research or recommendation report. Next is name all the species according to a given basis. Next is name all the species according to a given basis. So a complete classification means presenting every known species. For example, a classification of the most frequently processes in the fabrication of plastic articles in the Philippines are first molding, extrusion, coating, and thermoforming. Next is the partition. So partition is the act of dividing a unit to its components. For example, a hammer. So a hammer is a single unit. A hammer head without a handle is not a hammer. The head and the handle are parts of a single unit. They are just divided into two. So we also have characteristic of a partition system. We have example is a tree. So first is the division must be coordinate. So in a tree, the parts of a tree are roots, trunk, branches, and leaves. Next is the divisions must be mutually exclusive. So make sure that the divided units are exclusive for the tree only. You cannot add any part that is not belonging to the unit. For example, when you say the part of a tree are roots, trunk, branches, and leaves, and a chair. That the chair is not part on a tree, so be careful to not add term or a unit or a part that is not belonging to the unit, which is the tree. Next is the divisions must not overlap. So when separating a unit, make sure that you are not overdoing it. For example, a tree. Roots, the tree are divided into roots, branches, leaves, and trunk. And you can add that trunk is also divided into cambium, sapwood, etc. Make sure that the division is not overlap. So next is the division must be complete. So when dividing a unit, make sure you are not miss out anything. So when you divided the tree, make sure that you will not forget the root or the leaves. Next is definition of mechanism. So mechanism is generally defined as any object or system that has a working parts. A mechanism may be to transmit power greatly and exists of that required to overcome the frictional dynamic requirements of the mechanism itself, or to produce a desired relative movement of its parts. The exposition of mechanism depends on what the readers want to know. So, for instance, an electronic gadget. So, we will need a detailed account to use it to its full potential as the mechanism design, which is stated to the number one. However, if the buyer is only after its function, then a general description of the gadget would be enough. So, next is the definition of process. So a process is a series of steps to get something done, or it is instruction or explanation. Exposition of a process necessarily includes a discussion of equipment and materials which are used. The writer may include their discussion as a separated section at the beginning or at those particular points in the process where they are needed. However, if the equipment of or materials are enormous, the make that making it hard for the readers to remember, it is advisable to incorporate the discussion as it comes up in the text.
Now, let's move on to the placement of visuals. Visuals serves as an important part of technical writing as visuals can help enhance a piece of technical writing and create a friendly document. The following are the information on the correct and better visual placement. The first placement is that visuals should be placed 2 lines after the start of the technical page, 2 lines before the end of the textual page, and 1 line is also acceptable in some cases. Next is, it should not go beyond the margins. It should not go beyond the margins because it helps in maintaining readability and consistency in technical writing. Adhering to the margins in technical writing makes the readers to easily understand and engage with the content of the text. Visuals should be 25% to 30% of the page. This is not a strict rule but rather a general recommendation. This is to create a balance between the text and the visuals. Next, place the visual into the text at the point or discussion it supports. Visual serves as a powerful tool in reinforcing information presented in the text. By placing visuals at the relevant point of the text, it will help readers to connect the visual information to the discussion, allowing them to better comprehend the relationships between the two. Next, be sure each visual has a definite purpose, add or clarify information. It is very essential to have an effective communication. Each visual should have their specific purpose either by adding information to the text or to clarify something in the text. Some things may be difficult to understand with just the text, which is why visuals, by having clear purposes, can help in conveying information effectively. Captions are acceptable as long as you do not clutter too many words, so the maximum of words is 7. This is to keep the information concise, ensuring that captions are brief, informative, and support the visual content at the same time. Apply appropriate colors to visuals. Colors can catch readers' attention. It also appeals to readers' emotions, which is why choosing colors that are appropriate to the text is important. And always make sure they support the message intended in the document. Use a uniform labeling technique. The following are the labeling techniques of technical writing. So we have here A, to the right, aligned and numbered. B, to the left, aligned and numbered. C, up, aligned and numbered. D, down, aligned and numbered. E, but not a combination of A, B, and C. A, B, C, and D, because this is an old system of labeling. F, we have arrows aligned. G, bullets aligned. H, but not a combination of F and G. Using uniform labeling technique in technical writing is important as it helps ensuring consistency, clarity, professionalism in the documents, making the readers to engage with the context easily. Next, we have, as a general rule, a visual can be placed within a textual page. And lastly, pictures, maps, tables, graphs, flowcharts, and diagrams are samples of visual or graphic aids. So these placements of visuals are crucial in technical writing. Why? Because they help clarify, explain, support an idea, and help in motivating the readers to focus on the important information in the text. Next, we have partition techniques of description. So there are several partition techniques of description. We have classify the model or the model classification, which refers to the category or the organization of the model. It could be A, front, rear, back view; B, top, bottom, middle; C, far, near; D, or whatever is found in the user's manual. We have number 2, divide and subdivide the class by its part. Number 3, the visual is your basis for partition, because visuals often depict different components. Through it, you can organize information into sections or categories. Next, we have the visual must have been labeled well. It is very important in technical writing. Well-designed labels help the readers get into an understanding on what the visual represents. What is its purpose and its relationship to the text surrounding it? Next, apply partition by A, number plus part plus discussion; B, number plus part and its discussion; C, the discussion should be in sentences. So here, the partition is applied using numbering system. It is to indicate the sections, followed by their corresponding parts, and then the discussions. This helps readers to follow the discussion through the clear structure provided. Next is we have the discussion should focus more on the functions of a part and not in its location on the model. Next, we have the 7. The partition can be in a paragraph form or in an enumeration form, but it can also be a combination of both paragraph and enumeration form. Parts should be highlighted. By highlighting parts, readers can quickly grasp the key elements and main points of the text. Other important words in the discussion may be highlighted. Highlighting other important words in the discussion can further enhance the emphasis of key points in technical writing. Place the visual into the text at the point or discussion it supports. As a general rule, lay out your visual well. So, layouting your visual. Visual layout is very important. Its layout will have a big impact on the enhancement on the overall effectiveness of the document. Next, we have label only the most important parts. By labeling the most important parts only, you draw attention to the elements which is the focus and emphasis of the document. This partitioning strategy gives technical writing clarity and organization, making the readers to easily comprehend and follow the information. Technical writers can convey complicated instructions and ideas by using these strategies. So there are different types of letter formats. We have the innovative block, simplified block, semi-block, and the full block. So there are 12 parts of a business letter, namely the number 1, letterhead, which is the top section of the letter. Number 2, the date, which is usually placed below the letterhead and which indicates the day the letter is written. Number 3, inside address, which is the recipient's information. Number 4, attention line, which is used to address a specific person in the recipient's organization. Number 5, salutation. which is the greeting at the beginning of the letter. Number 6, the subject line, which is the brief summary of the letter's purpose. Number 7, the body of the letter, where the main content of the letter is written. Number 8, complementary clause, which is the polite way of ending a letter. Number 9 to 10 is the signature of the sender. And 11, the name of the sender. And number 12, the position or the designation of the sender. In the inside address of the letter, these are the things that should be taken into consideration. There are things that are applicable and not applicable to be put in the inside address of the letter. In the applicable, we have Mr., Miss, Doctor, Professor, Engineer, and Honorable. In the not applicable, we have Mrs. and Miss. So we have an example here. Honorable Lawrence L. Cruz, Mayor, Iligan City. So in the new style, we have Honorable Lawrence L. Cruz. Under it is the mayor and then the place, the Iligan City. Another example, we have Maria Lenaida Lastimoso, PhD, Dean, College of Education, Obando Colleges, Obando, Bulacan. As you can see in the new style, the format is very organized. It is very structured. Each information in the inside address are emphasized. Next, we have the salutation. There are also things that are acceptable and not acceptable in the salutation. First, we have the acceptable: gentlemen, ladies, sir, Mr. Reyes, madam, dear Mr. Reyes. On the other hand, we also have the non-acceptable: dear sir, my dear Mr. Reyes, my dear madam, and dear Mrs. Reyes. And lastly, we have the complementary closing. There are several ways to close a letter, and the following are the examples. We have very respectfully yours very respectfully yours, truly, very truly yours truly, very sincerely yours, sincerely, cordially, yours sincerely, very cordially yours very cordially, cordially yours cordially. As you have noticed in the examples, they are arranged in order, from the very formal one to the very least formal. The characteristics of business letter. First, we have correctness. Accuracy and correctness of information in a technical writing document are essential in order to convey information effectively. Failing to do so will confuse the readers and might create misunderstanding. Next, we have clearness. So a business letter should be written straightforwardly and in an understandable manner. To have a clear information, the language used must be simple. And remember to refrain from using jargons or words that are ambiguous. Next, we have conciseness. Conciseness is the art of saying a thing in as few words as possible. It can be secured by using direct statements and exact words as can possibly be spared. So a business letter should be concise. Its information should be brief, clear, and to the point. Next, we have order. It is essential that business letters should have logical organization. So a business letter should be organized and structured. Information should be arranged in order for readers to easily follow and understand the text. Next is we have unity. No letter should deal with two unrelated subjects, so it should be focused on only one subject. But if you have another concern, then you shall have to write another letter about such matter, as it is not advisable to discuss two, especially not related subjects in one single letter. Next is we have courtesy. Business letters should be written with courtesy, showing respect, politeness, and consideration to the reader. Through this, relationships between both parties will be maintained. Next is we have the character, personality, and style. So character, personality, and style are interrelated that these three should not be separated. They should always come together. The originality, spontaneity, naturalness, vigor, and simplicity of the writer should always be present, as they are the factors that shows character, personality, and style in the document. And the last characteristic of business letter is the tone. Tone is an important thing to consider in technical writing, as it sets the mood of the document, which is why writers should always refrain from writing in a condescending, pompous, sarcastic, didactic, flippant, suspicious, or in a humble tone. Next is we have the types of business letter. So there are 4 types of business letter. We have here first the inquiries and replies. Inquiries and replies are the simplest of all the business letter types. These letters ask or answer brief questions. We have here the steps to be followed in this letter. A. State carefully the circumstances which necessitates the inquiry. B. State any facts needed by the reader in making a complete reply. C. Ask for information or state the questions. And D. Express gratitude for the favor requested. So since the one who will benefit in this letter is only the writer, so there should always follow a note of thanks. The reply should follow the following things. A. Acknowledge the inquiry or state a circumstances necessitating the reply. B. Answer the question fully. C. Build goodwill and pave the way for further contact. Next, we have order and acknowledgement. Okay. Next is we have the order and acknowledgement. So in order and acknowledgement, we have elements that should be included in the letter. First, we have A. The name of the article ordered. B. Description of each item, giving size, style, finish, quality, material, weight, or whatever will help in identifying the article wanted. C. Catalog number of the item, if it is available. If not, the page number of a catalog. It is well also to include the number or date of the catalog. Next, you have the quantity of each item wanted. E. Price for each item and the total price of the order. F. Method of payment to be used by the buyer. Occasionally, the conditions of acceptance in the order should be included. Method of shipment desired by the buyer. Address to which goods to be shipped, especially important if shipping address differs from the post office address. And I, date at which goods are desired. So these are the elements that should be strictly uh, considered in this type of letter, which is the order and acknowledgement. Next, we have letter giving instructions. In this type of letter, now from its name itself, this letter is for giving or providing instructions. In this letter, the letter should be as clear as possible so the writer can easily understand and follow the instructions. Courtesy and tone also should not be absent to make the letter remain friendly to the reader. So we have here the elements of letter giving instructions. So first we have here a general statement which gives the read on for the letter and paves the way for the detailed instructions. The detailed instructions and then a request for report and expression of cooperation or thanks for the service to be rendered, or a statement opening the way for further correspondence to clear up obscure points. So these elements are crucial in letter giving instructions. Next is we have the claim and adjustment letter. This letter is to inform the recipient about the problem and request a resolution or adjustment and seek for a satisfactory outcome. It is also crucial to maintain a professional and polite tone throughout the letter. Even though you write about dissatisfaction and ask for resolution, you should always remain respectful. So there are 5 steps that consists a claim letter. So first, we have a complete and careful statement of what is wrong. B, a statement showing the inconvenience to which the claimant has been put to arouse the interest of the adjuster. C, a request for explanation, an adjustment or whatever is needed to make good the error. And D, a further appeal adapted to the reader's pride, self-interest, sense of fair play, or fear. And E, expression of gratitude. And next we have also functional orders in adjustment letter. So we have an expression of interest and sympathy or an apology. B, a clear and complete statement of the facts so that the claimant may understand the adjuster's point of view. C, an offer of an adjustment which is fair to both parties. And D, an assurance that the situation will not happen again to build up damaged goodwill. So, those are the things that should be included in claim and adjustment letter. Next is we have the application letter. So an application letter must contain at least 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is where you write your application on a specific position, and you can also state where you get the advertisement from. In the second paragraph, you can state there your qualifications and experiences related to the advertisement's job description. And you should also specify them. It can either be written in a paragraph form or in a enumerated form. The third paragraph will contain other papers that are attached in your application letter and that supports your application letter. For example, your resume. And in fourth paragraph, this is where you can request an interview as specified in the advertisement. Always remember to avoid saying these very common lines at your most convenient time or anytime at your convenience, as they are jargons. They are not advisable to be used in an application letter. We have here the things that should be done and should not be done in writing an application letter. We have here number one, avoid using this connection in this regard with regards to this. Instead, use therefore. We avoid such phrases in writing an application letter because this will make your application letter sound outdated and less concise. Therefore, on the other hand, is a transition to summarize your ideas and thoughts clearly. It is most preferred not only because it adds professionalism to the letter, but it also is concise and more direct. Next, we have number two, spell out the words. So we have here the do's and don'ts. So in the do's, we have I am. In the don'ts, we have I'm. In the do's, we also have you have. And don'ts, you've. So it is very important to spell out the words correctly when you write an application letter. Spelling out the words correctly, like I am and you have, will add formality, clarity, and professionalism in the letter. On the other hand, using contractions of words like I'm and you've will make your letter sound more like casual and informal. And next is we have the application letter plan. So in a job hunting, it is very important to plan out your application for you to have a high chance of getting hired in the job that you're applying to. Below are the things that you need to consider in planning to apply for a job. Next is we have the application letter. An application letter must contain at least 4 paragraphs. The first paragraph is where you write your application on a specific position, and you can also state where you get the advertisement from. In the second paragraph, there you can state your qualifications and experiences that are related to the advertisement's job description, and always remember to specify them. It can either be written in a paragraph or in a numerated form. So the third paragraph will contain other papers that are attached in your application letter. Papers that are attached to support your application letter. For example, is your resume. And in the fourth paragraph, this is where you can request an interview as specified in the advertisement. Always remember to avoid saying these common words or common phrases at your most convenient time or any time at your convenience, because they are jargons which are not really advisable to be used in an application letter. So we have here the don'ts and do's. In number 1, avoid using in this connection, in this regard, with regards to this. So instead of using the 3, we use therefore. So we avoid such phrases in writing an application letter because this will make your application letter sound outdated and less concise. Therefore, on the other hand, is a transition that indicates a logical conclusion. It shows that you are able to summarize your ideas and thoughts clearly. It is most preferred not only because it adds professionalism to the letter, but it also is concise and more direct. Next is we have the number 2, spell out the words. We have here the do's and don'ts. In the do's we have I am, while in the don'ts we have I'm, and you have in the do's and don'ts, you've. So it is very important to spell out the words correctly when you write an application letter. Spelling out the words correctly like I am and you have will add formality, clarity, and professionalism in the letter. On the other hand, using contractions of words like I'm and you've will make your letter sound more like casual and informal. Next is we have an application letter plan. In a job hunting, it is very important to plan out your application for you to have a high chance of getting hired in the job that you are planning to apply. Below are the things that you need to consider in planning to apply for a job. Here we have the things you need to do before you apply. You have here number one, look for job opportunities. Number two, get a copy of the classified ads for the Sunday edition of Manila Bulletin. Number three, if you have the right job, watch out for A, prestige of the company, location of the company, the mailing address, the telephone numbers, and E, the website. And F, the other information. So we have number four, watch out for illegal recruiters. It is very important not to be a victim of scammers. Five, ask for help or assistance from POEA or SEC. Do not apply for a job in a company if there are no vacancies. 7. LGUs and some educational institutions regularly sponsor job fairs. Number 8, we have applied many times, not once, but many times. 9. Remember, when there are challenges, there are opportunities. Yes, it is very true. So you don't have to be discouraged uh, when you are not accepted in that company that you applied. Because as it states here, when there are challenges, there are opportunities. So there are many opportunities, only if you don't give up. Next, we have number 10, analyze the job advertisement by A, your personal qualities, age, sex, height, house, language, others. Next, you have your educational attainment, your degree, seminars on the job training, others. Your work experiences related to the position advertised. Your technical skills, leadership skills, motivation to work, others. Documents to be submitted. Next, we have start drafting and revising your application letter now. And number 12, fill out the biodata form. So those are the things that are very important to consider before you apply for a job. We have the letter B, start writing your application letter. So in writing your application letter, you should state the job description, your educational qualification, your work experiences, your profile skills, and other data. So follow the guidelines and send your application letter through mail or email. So next we have C. Be ready. Be ready for the job. In getting ready for the job interview, you should first state about something about yourself. Next, you should state the reason, provide them the reason for applying in their company. And then next, we have how fit you are for the job. Next, we have how fit you are for the job. So you should convince them, you should give them something that will convince them that you are really fitted for the job. Number 4, why this position? You should give them a very interesting information, an explanation on why you chose this position. The next, you should state why you should be hired. You should give them a reason. You should give them a reason that you should be hired in the company. You are fitted for the company. Next is you should state your future contribution to the company, your plan for the company, and what you can do for the company. And seven, the salary. And the eight, your visual impact. You should also be mindful for yourself. You should be physically presentable. Next, we have after the job interview. These are the things that you should do after the interview. Assess the questions asked, the questions such as primary, main, follow up, open, broad, close, yes or no, leading for preferred answer, not a neutral, may not be related to A, B, C. So these are the things that you should assess, that you should consider after your job interview. So those are the things that are very important to consider in applying for a job. So with a thorough planning before applying for a job, in writing the application letter, preparing for a job interview, and after the interview, you are increasing your chances of getting yourself a more suitable opportunities. Help see yourself improve and boost your confidence. And with the help of this planning, you will see yourself ready and prepared for the job that you are applying, which makes you a compelling candidate for the job. And for that, you will have a high chance of getting accepted or getting hired in that company. And that's the end of our report. Thank you for listening and God bless.